Welcome to the U.S. Military Test Prep channel by Study.com. My name is Eric, Marine Corps veteran, and I'm an ASVAB test prep expert. In today's video, we'll practice computing the volume and surface area of rectangular prisms and cylinders. We'll also work on determining the side lengths or the height of a figure when given the volume or the surface area. This will help you prepare for the Mathematics Knowledge exam, which is one of the subject-specific sections of the ASVAB. Let's take a look at our first problem. Use the figure below to answer the question that follows. And it looks like we have a rectangular prism here, and we're given the dimensions for the height, the length, and the width. Analyze the figure above to determine its surface area. Alright, so first off, let's review what a rectangular prism is. It's a three-dimensional shape with 6 rectangular faces where all faces, top, bottom, and lateral, are rectangles, and opposite faces are congruent and parallel. So congruent is basically just a term that means that the sides are identical in shape and size. So let's just draw that out to get a good understanding of what that means. It'll be important as we solve the problem. So what congruent really means is that if we look at this front face right here, that it's equivalent and the same shape and size as that back face back here. And if we look at this side or lateral face here, it's the same as this one here. So they're the same shape and the same size. And finally, this top face is the same size and shape as this bottom face. So when we hear rectangular prism, that's a thing that we can assume. We know that opposite faces are the same size. So now let's review the formula to find the surface area of a rectangular prism. The surface area of a rectangular prism is equivalent to 2 times length times width plus width times height plus length times height. If we want to think about surface area formula in just a little bit of a different way, it's kind of like saying if we find one side, like let's take this front face for example, which would be our length times our height, then we could say this equals 2 times our length times height plus 2, and it applies all the way around. So if we wanted to look at this side here, and since the opposite side is equivalent, well, that's our width times height plus 2. Now if we wanted to take this top piece here, that's our length times our width. So all we've really done with this original formula is we've brought the 2 out here to the end. It's the same formula. All right, so let's get into the solution. So our surface area is equal to 2 times our length, which is 16 inches, times width, which is 5 inches, plus our width, which is 5 inches, times our height, which is 8 inches, plus our length of 16 inches, times our height of 8 inches. So now we just work through our math. Surface area equals 2 times, so 16 times 5 is 80 inches squared, because that's inches times inches, so we're now in inches squared, plus 5 times 8 is 40 inches squared, plus 16 times 8 is 128 inches squared. All right, so let's just keep going. If we do all of our addition steps, we'll get 2 times 248 inches squared. So our surface area, 2 times 248 is 496 inches squared. So that's our answer. C, 496 inches squared. Great job. A cylinder with a volume of 90 pi inches cubed has a radius of 3 inches. Which of the following is the cylinder's height? 5 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, or 12 inches? This is another great opportunity to draw out our figure. So a cylinder looks something like this. And our radius, if we look at the circle, that's from the center out, our radius, we're given that, is equal to 3 inches. Our volume is equal to 90 pi inches cubed. And our height over here, well, we don't know what that is. That's what we're trying to solve for. So let's review our formula for volume, and let's see where we go from there. So to get the volume of a cylinder, it's pi times the radius squared times the height. All right, well, now let's plug in what values we have. Well, we've got the volume, so we know that's 90 pi inches cubed is equal to pi, and we've got the radius over here. We know that's 3 inches. So times 3 inches squared times the height. That's the one we don't have. All right, well, let's work this out a little bit further. We can take 90 pi inches cubed is equal to pi, and we'll solve this. So 3 squared is 9 inches squared times height. All right, well, we're looking pretty good here. I think we can just divide out this pi times 9 inches squared on both sides. All right, so the squared cancels out 2 of those. The pi is going to cancel out. So we're looking pretty good here. That 9 cancels that out. So 90 divided by 9 is what we're left with. That's 10 inches equals the height. So our height, what we're looking for, is 10 inches. Great job. Which of the following is the volume of the cylinder above? 360 pi inches cubed, 400 pi inches cubed, 420 pi inches cubed, or 480 pi inches cubed? Well, since we've already got a nice diagram here, let's just write out the formula for volume of a cylinder. And that is pi r squared times the height. So now let's fill in what we know. So pi, and we're given the radius here of 6 inches. So we'll fill that in, 6 inches squared. And we're given a height here of 10 inches times 10 inches. Perfect, so let's work through the math. Volume equals pi. Now 6 times 6 is 36 inches squared times 10 inches. Our volume equals 36 times 10 is 360 times pi inches cubed, because we had a square here and then this is kind of like inches to the first power, so now we're in cubed. So our answer is A, 360 inches cubed. Great job. Okay, that's the rundown on computing volume and surface area of rectangular prisms and cylinders, as well as determining the side lengths and height of a figure when given the volume or the surface area. If this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment on any questions or topics that you'd like us to cover in the future, and don't forget to subscribe for more U.S. military test prep content. I'll see you in the next video. You've got this.